Good evening. You are tuning in to AWANI Tonight with me, Cynthia Ng. BN and PH outline their vision for Malacca. Also, Malaysia and Indonesia to open travel corridor by early next year. That's coming up. Barisan Nasional and Pakatan Harapan have both unveiled their visions for Malacca in an effort to woo voters to support their bid to govern the state. While both coalitions pay equal importance to the need for efficient pandemic recovery as well as political stability, they have mooted different initiatives to get there. Barisan Nasional's pledges include amending the state constitution to appoint 5 unelected lawmakers that will include youth and non-political figures. According to BN Election Director Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan, having more lawmakers will ensure political stability, the main thrust of its election manifesto. BN has also pledged to ensure equal funding between government and opposition lawmakers in Melaka. It also vows to set up a youth parliament for Malacca. Meanwhile, Pakatan Harapan paid more attention to implementing reforms, which included enacting the anti-party hopping bill and recognizing the status of the opposition leader equivalent to an exco. PH also commits to distributing equal allocation for all state assembly persons despite their political backgrounds, as well as requiring all representatives to declare their assets. PH's action plan consisted of 3 main thrusts containing 6 strategies and 32 initiatives. With 2 out of 3 major coalitions have made their plans for Malacca known to the voters, how will this impact the rest of the campaign? Now, right now, we have our correspondent, Firdaus Azil, live from Malacca to talk us through some of the developments there today. Firstly, Firdaus, how would you describe these manifestos or rather action plans announced by both BN and PH? And more importantly, will they be a major point to draw voters out to vote, especially given we are expecting a lower turnout due to the pandemic?
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. From our observation, of course, we have seen 2 manifestos revealed by one from the Barisan Nasional and the other one from the Pakatan Harapan, where we think that these visions or manifestos are the key differentiators for the voters to determine who will they vote. But of course, for example, since the very first day from where I have been here, so that the flooding is one of the major issues of areas such as Durian Tunggal, Gadit, and also areas in Air Keruh such as Bukit Burang Bestari, Bukit Burang Utama, just to name a few. And it's clear that these mitigation plans were outlined by both coalitions, Cynthia.
Yes, if we look at the party that has yet to announce their manifesto is actually Perikatan Nasional. Are we expecting them to unveil their manifesto soon?
Well, depending on several reports, media reports before, it is Perikatan Nasional also has planned to announce their manifesto soon. But in fact, this is also the fact that the flood mitigation plan will also be included in their manifesto, as stated by the state chairman, State Melaka Perikatan Nasional chairman, which is Datuk Rafiq Nazar Mohidin. And of course, as for now, the time and date has yet to be set, but we will bring the latest as soon as it is made public, Cynthia. But of course, we will also try to discuss whether the Perikatan Nasional manifesto is as good as Barisan Nasional and Pakatan Harapan. We will find out soon.
Yes, indeed. We will definitely have to wait for Perikatan Nasional before we make any assessment of the 3 different manifestos. Now, Firdaus, we are in the 3rd day of campaigning, and with tight SOPs in place due to the pandemic, how are parties reaching out to voters? Have they been successful? And what is the general mood in Malacca at the moment?
Well, campaigning has definitely taken a unique turn this time around, and of course, certain parties such as PAS and DAP, as we have known, they have been depending on the big crowd, big ceramah and all. They have lamented that the ban on this public ceramah as is one of their ways of raising funds, especially among supporters. But of course, social media such as Facebook or Twitter or WhatsApp has definitely become an integral tool, as we see there are a number of Facebook live session, ceramah and all, utilized by both or all candidates in their attempt to reach the voters here. But whether we want to see whether it is working or not, we still yet to find out, Cynthia.
All right, thank you so much, Firdaus, for sharing the latest on Malacca, and we're definitely expecting more developments from our team in Malacca. Best of luck with the rest of the campaign period. That was Firdaus Azil live from Malacca with the rest of the Astro AWANI team, so be sure to tune in for the latest on the Malacca state election as we build up to the polling day on November 20th. Still on the Malacca state election, opposition leader Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said that Pakatan Harapan will choose its Malacca chief Adli Zahari as the coalition's pick for chief minister, while Barisan Nasional said it will stick with Datuk Seri Sulaiman Mat Ali as CM designate. BN election director Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan said that Sulaiman was the incumbent chief minister and he should continue to helm the state administration if the party wins. Barisan Nasional, he said, will also welcome any party, including those from Perikatan Nasional, to join the coalition in a new state government should it win the majority of the seats on November 20th. He said this is to prevent assemblymen from withdrawing their support for the incoming administration or a repeat of the incidents that led to the collapse of the previous state government. Malaysia and Indonesia have reached an agreement to implement a travel corridor by early next year. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, who is on a 3-day official visit to Indonesia, said the travel corridor initiative would first connect Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta by air before opening to other low-risk destinations. The travel corridor will be implemented through a Travel Corridor Arrangement (TCA) or Vaccinated Travel Lane (VTL) program. Ismail Sabri said priority will be given to the fully vaccinated travelling for official, business, medical and humanitarian purposes. He added that the travel corridor will involve the joint recognition of the COVID-19 vaccination certificate and the standard COVID-19 PCR screening test results. Both Ismail Sabri and President Joko Widodo hope the initiative can be finalized immediately and begin implementation in early 2022. Malaysia is also in discussions with Brunei and Thailand to open up vaccinated travel lanes. In a tweet today, Health Minister Kari Jamaluddin said more fully vaccinated quarantine-free travel options will come soon. In another development, the Health Ministry said it has started giving out booster shots to those aged 40 and older. Kari said the booster dose will first be given to eligible Malaysians who are above 40 and those who have comorbidities. He also revealed that around 40% of people getting their vaccine booster appointments are not showing up for the jab. He warned the number of hospitalization will increase if the number of booster take-ups remain low and urged those who had received their appointment dates to go and take the jab. We will go for a quick break. Stay with us.
Kes masih tinggi. Amalkan kebersihan yang baik. Basuh tangan dengan Lifebuoy atau sabun. Kuasa melindungi Malaysia kini di tangan anda. Kita jaga kita.
When the world was changing for photographic film, we helped change the world as a pioneer of the digital age. In healthcare, we're expanding what's possible with advanced technology. But why stop there? When we can focus our AI and IoT expertise on business innovation, helping tackle some of the toughest challenges in the workplace. When it comes to innovating for a healthier world and a more sustainable society, we'll never stop. Fujifilm, value from innovation.
Ramai orang cakap, bila kita berbuat baik, kebaikan itu akan datang semula. Tapi, kalau kita ikhlas, hikmah besar menanti.
Welcome back. The government has set aside 32.4 billion ringgit for the Health Ministry in Budget 2022, a 1.5% increase compared to last year. Health experts are saying the amount is inadequate. The Malaysian Health Coalition is calling for the government to spend more in healthcare to better fight COVID-19, other chronic diseases, and to prepare for future pandemics.
Expenditure for health has always hovered about 4% from our GDP. However, if we compare this with developed nations, like say the OECD countries and all, they have, of course, a very high income. This is why they are called the high-income countries, but their GDP to health is about 8 to 10%. Of course, in certain countries, let's say US, of course, it may not be the best example, but they go up to about 18%. So if you look at middle-income countries, most of us will look at around, 4%, 5%, but some of the advocates, example from WHO, say that you should actually, your expenses should be around 5 to 6% of the GDP of a country. So if you compare with Malaysia, we are actually very far behind. So in that sense, we still say that this is inadequate, an increment of about 1.5%. We thank the government for the increment, but we still say that this is slightly inadequate.
Dr. Sharifah said additional allocation should be channeled to the public health services managing non-COVID-19 care, such as those treating non-communicable diseases.
Health centers and health clinic, the public health sectors or services are the most cost-effective service that's available. So you need to strengthen that, especially when we have just faced a very big pandemic, COVID pandemic, and we don't know what other pandemics is going on. At the moment, we already have two pandemics, so-called the infectious pandemic, which is COVID, and we also have the non-infectious. And this is where our non-communicable diseases are basically a big portion of our budget are actually trying to, fight our non-communicable diseases, or what we call as NCDs. So this will include like hypertension, diabetes, stroke, heart diseases, mental health problems, and so on. So these are things that we need to strengthen. So we don't have enough budget devoted to that.
She also emphasized the need to strengthen healthcare resources and programs to prepare Malaysia for future pandemics.
Healthcare staff in the public health centers, clinics, and so on. Our healthcare programs are not very strong, but they are not manned enough by public health experts, epidemiologists, virologists, and things like that. So these are things that we need to strengthen facing the future pandemics that might occur.
Anyone over 65 in France will soon only be allowed to travel or visit restaurants and public venues if they have a COVID booster jab. President Emmanuel Macron said a booster shot will be required by mid-December for their health pass to remain valid. The new rule further tightens one of the strictest COVID regimes in Europe. In a televised remark, Macron also appealed for people to get booster shots to fight rising infections. France is seeing a spike in daily cases despite high vaccination rates. Nearly 75% of the French population is fully vaccinated, including 88% of adults, but an estimated 6 million people are still unvaccinated. Macron stressed that most of those hospitalized with the virus in France are unvaccinated. Booster shots are currently authorized for anyone over 65 or with underlying health conditions. France will expand it to those 50 and over in December. Fumio Kishida was re-elected as Japan's Prime Minister in a special parliament session today. Kishida called for a quick election after his Liberal Democratic Party secured a strong majority in the lower house on October 31st. Kishida's party secured 261 seats in the 465-member parliament, enough to give him a free hand in pushing legislation through parliament. The better-than-expected election results may give Kishida's government more power and time to work on campaign promises, including COVID-19 control, economic measures, and strengthening Japan's defense capability. Kishida will form his second cabinet in a month by reappointing most of his ministers. The effects of period poverty in Malaysia have often been denied, dismissed, or overlooked. How do we correct misconceptions and ensure it is adequately addressed? Tonight on Consider This, we speak to our guests about ending period poverty. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news updates on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro AWANI app. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching.